Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Wuxia. My Baizi painting, 10 generations exposed on the gold list. Su Bai traveled through the world of flowers and bones, becoming a Baizi painting. In addition, he went through 9 generations, including Ye Hua, Yuwen Tuo, Ouyang Shaogong, Xiaoyao, Jing Tian, Sifeng, and Ye Hua. Until the 11th age, he unexpectedly traveled through a world of integrated martial arts that blended countless martial arts worlds. A cultivation master mixed in with martial arts. Dimension reduction strike. Su Bai smiled and didn't think much anymore. After 10 lifetimes of hardship, he wanted to be a prodigal. At this moment, the golden list will descend, taking stock of all the bitter lovers in the world. The second night flower, with the love of Bai Qian, Su, and Yin for 3 lifetimes, ranks 3rd. The 5th Jing Tian, ranked 2nd. The Su Bai painted by the first generation of Bai Zi, who was praised for being immortal forever. The taboo love with Hua Qinggu ranks 1st. Su Xiaonian looked dumbfounded and said, "Boss, Dad, no, brother. Law, this is my second sister Su Weisheng." At this point, the world shakes. Not only that, what surprised Su Bai was that all the female protagonists in his 10th reincarnation seemed to have reincarnated into this world: Xiaogu, Susu, Linger, Longkue, Xuanji. Wait for me. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 1. The first playboy and the first prodigal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 1. Dances and prodigals. Dali Dynasty. Within the city of Liangzhou, hundreds of well-equipped cavalry, filled with icy cold and evil energy, gallop through the streets. Everyone knows that this cavalry must be the elite among the elite raised in the Liangzhou prince's mansion, and still the countless arrogant wanderers on the streets of Liangzhou city, obediently giving way at this moment. Who dares to block the way of the cavalry in the prince's mansion of Liangzhou? No one. However, what happened? Did spies from the barbarians of Beimang come in? Or did Beimang break in? In general, it is impossible for cavalry to rush through such a crowded main street so recklessly. After all, the military discipline in Liangzhou is strict, and if they collide with civilians, they will be punished. In this way, everyone can easily guess that something big must have happened. Finally, amidst the chatter of discussions, someone suspected of knowing a glimmer of intelligence spoke up. It's nothing to do with Beimang. It's His Highness the Crown Prince. I heard that His Highness the Crown Prince has been beaten, right inside the purple gold tower. The crowd was immediately shocked, and many of the martial arts rangers were even more shocked. Your Highness, who is that person? That's the boss of Liangzhou city. Not only in Liangzhou city, but also throughout Liangzhou, even in Jiangnan Road, His Highness the Crown Prince dares to go. It is not an exaggeration to say that His Highness the Crown Prince is the most dandy among all the dandies in the entire Dali dynasty. Top-tier playboy. It is said that there are also several princes from noble families who believe in the Zhao family, who regard His Highness the Prince of Liangzhou as a role model to learn from. The reason why His Highness the Crown Prince dares to be so promiscuous is that he has a father who is the great pillar of the Dali dynasty and holds 350,000 elite soldiers and iron cavalry. Back then, a disciple of a martial arts sect spoke rudely and insulted His Highness the Crown Prince. Then, 3 days later, 3,000 iron riders stepped on the mountain gate, and the entire sect knelt down to apologize to His Highness the Crown Prince. Your Highness, the Crown Prince with such achievements. Who dares to provoke? And now, His Highness the Crown Prince has been beaten by someone. Hiss, I don't know where the big shot came from. How dare you hit His Highness the Crown Prince? Has it been the arrival of important figures from several other imperial dynasties in this world? There are not only 2 dynasties, Dali and Beimang. There are also several empires and rivers in the western regions, including the Great Qin, Great Han, Great Tang, Great Song, Great Ming. As well as the Mongol Yuan, Manchu Qing, and Western regions. Is it that the big shot from inside has come to Dali? However, when the person who knew the information spoke up again, everyone's expressions were immediately taken aback. No, not a big shot, I heard. Actually he's just a wandering wanderer. What? Just a wandering wanderer in the martial arts world, someone was shocked. What is that, prodigal son? It sounds like a prodigal son. To put it bluntly, it's a poor ghost wandering around in the martial arts world. What kind of temperamental prodigal son dares to attack His Highness the Crown Prince? I believe there must be a misunderstanding. What kind of prodigal son dares to attack His Highness the Crown Prince? That's right, he probably didn't recognize His Highness the Crown Prince, and His Highness didn't reveal his identity, that's why he took action. Many people speculate like this. After all, almost no major figure in the Dali dynasty dares to provoke His Highness the Crown Prince. If a wandering wanderer knows that the Crown Prince is in front of him, how dare he take action? No. However, the person who knew the intelligence spoke up again and revealed a shocking message. It's not a misunderstanding. It is said that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and 2 other friends went to the Purple Gold Tower for prostitution. Sigh. The Crown Prince heard of the Flower Queen Yuwen from the Purple Golden Tower and wanted her to come down to entertain him, but was told that Yuwen had already taken over. This one sentence made many people's eyes tremble uncontrollably. That Yuwen is not a nobody either. That is the hottest flower queen in Liangzhou today. It is said that she has always been a performer without selling herself, attracting many young masters from wealthy families. Despite countless attempts to win the first prize, she was unable to succeed. At most, she could only ask Yuwen to play a song in public. Half a year ago, there was also a prince who came to Liangzhou for the sake of Yuwen. It is said that the crown prince of the feudal lord once promised the status of a concubine of a feudal lord and requested to marry Yuwen. They were all rejected by Yuwen. And now, what did they hear? Yuwen has a master now. The meaning of having a master is the master of breaking melons. For a courtesan, the first time she receives a guest, she may become a lifelong lover. If a man is willing to redeem her, the redeemed courtesan is equivalent to having a husband. Even if she is not redeemed on the spot, with only a promise that she will be redeemed in the future, then this flower queen will no longer receive guests because of this promise. No, it's that wandering wanderer in the martial arts world, right? Everyone knows that the one who got the Hua Kuei Yuwen is probably the wandering wanderer who fought against His Highness the Crown Prince. How could it be? A prodigal son, why does he qualify for Yuwen? That's right, Yuwen, who is in a dilemma of buying a golden melody, that's the top-ranked flower queen in Liangzhou today, who was actually taken over by a wandering wanderer in the martial arts world. What is he relying on? Many people are not confused, but extremely jealous in their hearts. That's a flower queen. That's Yuwen. The person who knew the intelligence also had a hint of hatred and jealousy in their eyes. The flower leader, who they usually couldn't even see, was just taken by a prodigal son. Who wouldn't be jealous of this? I'm not sure why Yuwen willingly gave the first time to that wandering wanderer, but I know that the wandering wanderer in the martial arts world is highly likely to have not yet broken through the body of Yuwen, because after Yuwen invited the wandering wanderer into the incense chamber, His Highness the Crown Prince arrived. However, it is said that His Highness the Crown Prince did not think about this matter at first. It's the 2 friends around His Highness the Crown Prince who are not convinced. After all, they invited the Crown Prince to drink flower wine, but the person who drank flower wine was taken away by someone else. How embarrassing is this? So they led the person directly to Yuwen's fragrant room. Result. All of His Royal Highness's friends were beaten up by the wandering wanderer who was listening to Yuwen's intimate music, and along with the innocent prince beside him, everyone was in a great uproar. Emotionally, that wandering wanderer not only beat up one, but also 2 friends of His Highness the Crown Prince. Your Highness the Crown Prince's friend, there is no doubt that he is also a top-tier playboy. Is this wandering wanderer so brave? The person who knows the intelligence nodded. Well, after the crown prince reported his family, it is said that he was beaten up for the second time. Everyone was once again shocked. Your Highness the Crown Prince was beaten twice. What kind of person is that wandering wanderer in the martial arts world? Your Highness the Crown Prince dares to fight. I even fought twice in a row. No wonder so many cavalry have been deployed. That's right, although that wandering wanderer is very brave. But when the cavalry comes, he will be in dire straits. In an instant, many people immediately rushed towards Zijin Tower, one of the most prosperous places of wind and moon in Liangzhou. They want to see what kind of person the wandering wanderer who has the ability to take the flower queen Yu away for the first time is and how he died. 2-10 Reincarnations. Play Bai Zihua at the beginning. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 2-10 Reincarnations. Dimension Reduction Strike. Su Xiaonian. His Highness the Crown Prince. Is he really His Highness the Crown Prince? In the crowd, the white fox face, which looked like a fairy on earth, frowned. What did she hear? Su Xiaonian was beaten up. I don't know what kind of person that has the courage to beat up the playboy prince is. Maybe there is a bigger background than that playboy prince. The purpose of Bai Humian's visit to Liangzhou city is to gather all the martial arts of the Dali world in the Tingqiao pavilion of the Liangzhou prince's mansion to practice martial arts. But if there was a better place, she would definitely not choose to miss it. Go and see if it's okay. Watching the vast crowd of people heading to the purple golden tower to watch a play, Bai Hu's face took a thought and decided to follow. In front of the purple gold tower. Today was an unprecedented bustle. Almost all the influential figures in drinking flower wine throughout the city of Liangzhou, such as a wealthy young master from a certain family or a wealthy landlord, have come. Some are coming towards Yue. Some are coming towards His Highness the Crown Prince. Some are aimed at the wandering wanderer in the martial arts world. However, only when we arrived at Zijin Tower did everyone realize it. The situation inside the purple gold building is not as it is widely circulated and imagined by the public. No one inside the building even fought. His Highness the Crown Prince did not have a face full of anger. The only thing that could show anger was the two close friends who followed His Highness the Crown Prince. What is the situation? Didn't it mean that His Highness the Crown Prince was being beaten? Labor and management had long wanted to see the Crown Prince beaten. Brother, do you dare to say that? You're not afraid of being wiped out? Even though I am, many people don't understand the current situation. But they all decided to continue watching. Little brother, if you have something to say, please speak up. Anything can be discussed. Su Xiaonian looked at the young man in white sitting across from him, with no trace of anger on his face and a demeanor of a prince. However, just finished speaking. Su Xiaonian crazily blinked at old Huang next to him. Su Xiaonian has just returned from 3 years of traveling in the martial arts world with Lao Huang. After spending 3 years together with Lao Huang in the wind and rain, Su Xiaonian has already developed a set of secret words with Lao Huang. Old Huang. Are you sure this guy in front of you is a master? That's right. If it were normal, anyone would dare to glance at him randomly. Su Xiaonian would have someone poke that guy's buttocks, at least 8 times. And if anyone dares to take action against him, it is definitely the result of robbing the family and exterminating the family. But today, he actually did something to sit down with people and speak good words in a friendly manner. The only reason is that the young man in white clothes in front of him is highly likely to be a skilled expert with high martial arts value. Even if Su Xiaonian is a top-level playboy, he doesn't dare to provoke anyone without a master by his side. It's not that I didn't bring any experts. Drinking flower wine was a good thing, and Su Xiaonian naturally brought old Huang, who had spent 3 years together and loved drinking, along. But the problem is, Lao Huang doesn't seem to be a match for the young man in white in front of him. Your Highness, old Huang is not mistaken. He must be a master. Old Huang's hand was behind his back, revealing a little bit and gesturing vigorously, while his eyes couldn't help but fall on the young man in white. Eyes full of vigilance. There seems to be a hint of timidity and fear. As well as fear. It seems that if the young man in white were to take action, old Huang would be the first to leave Su Xiaonian and run away on the spot. This makes Su Xiaonian's teeth itch. Old Huang. Didn't you say you were a very skilled expert? Su Xiaonian fiercely gestured with the words, Master Huais. I remember back then, Su Xiaonian asked Lao Huang if he was a master. Lao Huang answered with a shy smile that only a shy girl would have, whether he was a master or a very tall and advanced master. But now, Lao Huang, this expert, surprisingly showed such a timid expression towards a young man. Su Xiaonian had to doubt whether Lao Huang's master had any talent. An embarrassed expression immediately appeared on Lao Huang's face. It seems that there is a debt owed to Su Xiaonian. But immediately, old Huang quietly glanced at the young man in white again, then turned his head and secretly gestured to Su Xiaonian again. Your Highness, this person is really not an ordinary person. He is definitely a master, and I am not a match. What if the sword box is on you? Su Xiaonian makes a gesture. He remembered that old Huang had a sword box, but today he couldn't have carried it with him to drink flower wine. But then I changed the sentence. Forget it, you don't need to take action. I have arranged for someone to notify Chu Lushan. When the master of the royal family arrives, I will definitely want this guy to look good. Su Xiaonian is now amiable, but in fact, he still intends to teach the young people in front of him a lesson. If I don't teach myself a lesson and go back, I'll lose face. When the master of the royal mansion arrives, I will definitely return with 2 palmed fans. Su Xiaonian gritted his teeth in his heart. However, Su Xiaonian just wanted to teach a lesson. Come on. In fact, what happened in the Zijin building today was actually caused by his friend. 2, come on. I don't know why, but he doesn't actually have any hatred towards the young man in white in front of him. At most, I am somewhat dissatisfied. I just want to crush someone. However, Su Xiaonian did not know that all his small movements and eyes actually fell into the eyes of the white-clad boy across from him, who was half squinting his red phoenix eyes. Su Bai looked at the small movements of the crown prince in front of her, and her heart had already seen through everything. He knew that Su Xiaonian was thinking of using a strategy to slow down his troops to deal with him, and he also knew that the toothless old Huang on the table next to him was scrutinizing his strength time and time again. He also knew that hundreds of cavalry had already surrounded the purple golden tower. He knows everything around him very well. Because it is indeed as Lao Huang said. He is not an ordinary person. Even more terrifying than Lao Huang thought. It's a traveler. And it's not just a journey. But it has traveled several times in a row. The most important thing is, his previous identities were all characters from the immortal world, such as Bai Zihua, the first immortal in the 6 realms, Yuwen Tuo, who wields the Xianyuan sword, Ouyang Shaogong in the ancient sword world. And many others. That's all top-notch infatuation, only falling in love with one person. Not. He is a top expert in the world of immortality and chivalry. And now, it is already the 10th reincarnation. It is also the first time that I have descended into such a world of comprehensive martial arts. This is actually just a small matter. Most importantly, in this lifetime, he awakened the memories and power of the first 10 lifetimes. He possesses the top-notch strength in the world of martial arts and immortality. If others were to know such secrets, the whole world would surely boil, because it would be a dimensionality reduction blow. Speaking of which, little brother. Just thinking about it. Su Xiaonian suddenly spoke up again and asked Su Bai. Brother, how did you become a wanderer in the martial arts world? How could you, such a strong expert, do such a boring thing? Su Xiaonian had already understood before. Su Bai traveled around the world, and every time he arrived, he would listen to music in all the places of Gulan and Fengyue, which is why he became known as a prodigal. Su Bai's eyes dimmed slightly. You should know that in his past life, he was either the top immortal in the 6 realms, a ruthless person, or a villain who calculated the entire world. There is indeed a considerable gap between his current status as a wandering wanderer in the martial arts world. In theory, with the identities of his past life, he would never become a prodigal's son no matter what. There are some reasons for this. Su Bai took a deep breath. At this moment, a golden light suddenly shone into the purple gold tower. Outside the purple gold tower, countless people preparing to watch the play suddenly looked up. Heaven and earth undergo great changes, and strange phenomena soar. 3. The golden list comes to life. Only Su Bai knows. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 3. The golden list comes to life. Only Su Bai knows. In the sky, the golden light rippled, and countless golden colors shone all over the sky, as if the entire sky was occupied. Countless people looked up at the sky. That golden light is both virtual and real, real and virtual, like a mirage hanging in the sky. Seeing this scene, countless people are confused in their eyes. What happened? Listening to the Chao Pavilion, an old man looked at the sky and his figure suddenly froze. A celestial anomaly, is it not because of immortals causing trouble? Thinking of this, the one-armed old man suddenly killed unexpectedly. This kind of anomaly. It seems that only the fairy outside the door that day has the means to do it. However, to achieve this, it is definitely not an ordinary immortal. It is possible that it is an immortal of the same level as Emperor Zhenwu. If that level of immortal really came, it would be troublesome. I don't know if that kid Wang Xianji can withstand it. Dali East C5 Emperor's City. A figure stood at the head of the 5 Emperor's City, gazing at the golden light in the sky, with a murderous intent that could not be concealed. At that moment, in the entire city of the 5 Emperors, countless world-renowned swords inserted into the city shook together. And with the cold hum of one of the Wang immortals, countless swords simultaneously emit a deafening sound like the roar of a dragon, shattering the airflow around the 5 Emperors' city. Countless gusts of wind and sword energy create a sword energy flood that is capable of shattering all life. He is Wang Xianji. The Dali dynasty and the Beimang dynasty were the top in the world. A cold snort can startle such an anomaly, which is enough to show his strength. Countless Jianhu swordsmen who came to the 5 Emperors' city in admiration were all shocked and lost. And most importantly, Wang Xianji is not a swordsman, but he can surpass countless swordsmen and even sword immortals in the world. I'm sitting here, who dares to go down to the heavenly gate? The words fell. Wang Xianji waved his sleeve and stood up, with all the waters of the 4 seas standing tall, carrying a terrifying force that is difficult to see on earth into the sky. That is the direction where Tianmen is located. However, when a corner of the sky's golden light was briefly lifted, Wang Xianji was stunned. Because Tianmen. It's not open. The heavenly gate is not open. This was not done by the immortals behind the heavenly gate. So what's going on? The Tang dynasty. Empress Wu Zetian looked up. Yuan Tiangang, such a vision, but what does heaven have to warn me of? Faced with the majestic empress, Yuan Tiangang dared not look up. This. I don't even know. I only calculated the celestial phenomena yesterday, and there was clearly no anomaly, and, this seems to have nothing to do with celestial phenomena. Wu Zetian's eyes narrowed slightly. Yuan Tiangang can be considered the top figure in the world who is most familiar with hexagrams, destiny, and arithmetic. It can even be counted back to several hundred years later. Today, there is something he can't even calculate. Wu Zetian frowned. What exactly is this sky full of golden light? The Great Qin dynasty. The man wearing a black and gold dragon-patterned imperial robe stopped his red pen and looked at the golden light piercing through the window. Miso at the moment, and the golden light fell into the main hall, hundreds of skilled secret guards appeared simultaneously, distributed in a mysterious formation around the man in the imperial robe. Zhang Han, the man in the imperial robe, spoke in a cold voice. At the next moment, a restrained general appeared from the darkness and knelt on one knee in front of the man in the imperial robe. What's going on outside the hall, faced with the golden light outside the palace and the shocking sound of ups and downs inside the palace? The man in the imperial robe had an extremely calm and indifferent expression. It seems like there's nothing to catch his attention. Zhang Han spoke respectfully. Returning to His Majesty the Emperor, a strange phenomenon has descended from the sky outside the house. It is suspected that a major event has occurred. Your Excellency Dong Huang has set off as soon as possible. Has the Eastern Emperor moved? Yingzheng squinted his eyes. As the strongest expert of the Great Qin, the strength of Emperor Tai is already unpredictable. However, there is something that can catch Emperor Tai's attention, and he is so eager to know what has happened. This finally aroused a hint of interest from Yingzheng. Go and take a look. As the words fell, Yingzheng stood up and walked towards the outside of the hall. Hundreds of shadow guards immediately set off, hiding in the darkness, leaving only Zhang Han to follow Yingzheng out. The Qin Dynasty. The golden light shines in the sky. The Qin Emperor in Zijing City suddenly became nervous. Assassins, there are assassins. The eunuchs around the Emperor of the Qin Dynasty were also extremely charismatic. They immediately ordered the summoning of tens of thousands of imperial guards to surround the 3 outer floors of the palace. However, when it was discovered that it was just a celestial anomaly, not an assassin, the Qin Emperor finally breathed a sigh of relief. Damn it! It's all the fault of those Jianghu people in Daming. If it weren't for that Shiman blowing blood and someone forcibly breaking into my Qing Dynasty Purple Bauhinia city, how could I be so anxious every day? But on the other hand, what does the meaning of a vision descending on this day really mean? Northern Mang Dynasty. The Empress Beimang held onto the railing, and her eyes finally calmed down from the vibration. Is this really not done by some martial arts expert? The person next to the Empress quickly answered. Your Majesty, if this vision were human-made, then there would definitely be some movement from the Tuoba army god side. I think this vision should just be a vision. The Empress Beimang finally breathed a sigh of relief. She is a woman who can dominate the entire North Mang, but she actually bears tremendous pressure. The most dangerous one among them is the so-called Jianghu. The most feared thing for the Empress Beimang was that one day the martial arts world could no longer suppress her. A so-called land immortal ran out and entered her Beimang palace, taking her head. Therefore, she suppressed all the luck of Beimang. Let the Beimang Jianghu be in a state of decline, and it can be said that there are almost no land immortals. It's not caused by martial arts experts. So what does this sky full of golden light mean? Damn it, Lao Huang, what's going on here? Su Xiaonian was shocked. A celestial anomaly. Grandma, Your Highness the Crown Prince, this is the first time he has seen it in his life. Old Huang, who lacks front teeth, also saw this scene for the first time. He immediately gestured to indicate that he didn't know either. It's useless. Su Xiaonian gestured 2 lines. At this moment, Su Bai looked at the sky full of strange phenomena outside, showing a conflicted expression of whether it was bitterness or laughter. Golden List. Inventory. I thought time travel was already fantastical enough. I didn't expect there to be something even more outrageous than traverse and the golden finger system. Just outrageous. Su Xiaonian noticed that Su Bai's reaction was different from everyone else's. Brother, you don't know what the situation is with this golden light, do you? After thinking for a moment, Su Bai realized that it's okay to talk about inventory on the golden list. Gold list inventory, inventory of world experts and similar things, ranking in order, and some who make it to the inventory will also receive rewards. Su Bai briefly explained. Su Xiaonian listened with a puzzled expression on his face. Golden list. Inventory. How could it be? What a joke. Is there a golden chart in the sky? It's impossible to think about this kind of thing with your butt. Brother Su, are you joking with me? Well, why don't we make a bet? If this illusion is really on your list, I'll give you Jiang and I, the most spirited girl in my Liangzhou prince's mansion. If it weren't for some golden list. You just recognize me as the big brother. So, I whispered to you that Jiang and I is a fallen princess, very rare. Su Xiaonian certainly did not think that there would be such an outrageous thing as the downfall of the golden list in the world. That's why I dare to make such a bet. This must be a 100% bet to win anyway. I don't have much grudge against the young man in white in front of me, nor is it a deadly grudge. When I become my elder brother, I should teach my younger brother a lesson and regain face. There's no need to fight fiercely with the young man who seems to be a master in front of me. Su Xiaonian felt that his current situation was reasonable. However, at the next moment, a golden list suddenly appeared in the sky. Su Xiaonian's pupils instantly dilated. Sleeping trough. 4. 30th place. Zhu Guo Xu Xiao. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. 4. 30th place. Zhu Guo Xu Xiao. Inventory of the world's sadness list. Life is like sending dust to the world, and youth flies like flying years. The elderly only care about eternal emotions. Life has joys, sorrows, and hardships. Some people live a foolish life with happiness, while others have deep roots in human relationships with sorrow. Counting the sorrows of the world, those who live a lonely life listen to Chao Gu. The one-armed old man had already imagined the grand scene of immortals descending and mortal sword immortals rising up to attack. After all, this world is extremely resistant to immortals. It is already known to many experts that immortals fish in the human world and plunder human luck. If there are really powerful immortals who come to the world, many people will definitely take action. At least, he is sure that Li Chungang will take action. And that old guy from the Five Emperors City. However, the fact suddenly reversed like this. It's not like a fairy descended. But it's a gold list inventory. Li Chunggang's eyes momentarily froze. What kind of outrageous thing is this? How could such a thing happen in the world? Five Emperors City head. Wang Xianji was dumbfounded. Ever since he found out it wasn't a fairy causing it, he immediately thought of countless possible scenarios. Has someone broken through the realm above the land gods? Is there a master born from the Fengyun Emperor's side? Did Bai Mang make a small move against the Dali dynasty? Is it the end of the world? Is this world of martial arts about to be destroyed due to some event? Wang Xianji made countless speculations. I also made the worst possible preparations. However, I didn't guess one correctly. After all, the golden list has come to life. Who could have thought of sending this outrageous thing? Wang Xianji was simply foolish. He has seen everything in the world, but he has never seen such a situation before. But it's also interesting. Wang Xianji tried his best to calm down, thinking to himself that even if he carefully accepted it, it was not impossible. But it's really outrageous. What? What kind of situation is this? Gold list inventory. Hiss. Isn't it a master's move? Outside the purple gold tower, countless people immediately began to discuss. Compared to top-tier figures like Li Chungang, Wang Xianji, and Yuan Tiangang, ordinary people are much less shocked. Because the general public believes that this should be the means of immortals or experts. They all appear extremely curious and excited. This is the foolish blessing that ignorance brings. Gold list inventory. In the crowd, the white fox's face and eyes were bewildered. Because of her strong martial arts skills, although she was outside the purple gold tower, she heard the words of Su Xiaonian and Su Bai inside. Before the golden list appeared, Su Bai knew that the golden list had arrived. The white fox looked at the young man in white in the purple gold building with a surprised face, and the surprise in his eyes couldn't be concealed. The whole world. No one knows the arrival of the golden list. And Su Bai can see through at a glance. This person definitely has a considerable background. A glimmer of light rose in the eyes of the white fox face. Perhaps we can turn to him for help. Su Xiaonian is foolish. Special size. How could such a thing happen? He had just finished gambling with Su Bai, betting that there would be no such outrageous thing as a top scorer descending from a cliff in this world. However, in the next moment, the golden list will face it directly. Tell me one thing. This golden list came unexpectedly. This slap on the face was really unexpected. Even if Su Bai wanted to kill him, he was on guard. But he really hasn't been on guard against this thing of coming down from the golden list. I agreed to your bet. Su Bai looked at Su Xiaonian and spoke calmly. Su Xiaonian's face stiffened. Then he pretended to be calm and sat down, taking a shallow sip of the drink. My crown prince. Can I go back on my word? Su Bai glanced at him. What do you think? Su Xiaonian's face muscles suddenly twitched wildly. Special size. He regretted it. But it's not a big deal. Su Xiaonian's heart calmed down. Anyway, he won't admit this bet. Sending women as gifts. How could His Highness the Crown Prince possibly do it? Impossible. Although Jiang Ni is just a fallen princess, she is just a maid in the palace, and if she is thrown outside the palace, she is just a lowly person. But when Su Xiaonian had no other choice, he wouldn't give women away as something to trade. Humph. When the experts from the royal family arrive, they will suppress you. I will do whatever the crown prince wants and fulfill my promise. Su Xiaonian felt a sense of relief in his heart. Within Liangzhou, there is no martial arts master who can turn the world upside down. Just at this moment, Su Xiaonian saw the white fox face in the crowd outside the door. Suddenly, I felt a great joy in my heart. White fox face. That's also a master. With a white fox face in front, Su Bai is definitely not a match. Think of it here. Su Xiaonian couldn't wait to find a way to notify Bai Hulian to come in and save the scene. However, at this moment, Su Bai calmly raised his glass and spoke, making Su Xiaonian dare not act rashly for a moment. The white fox face outside the door is not my match, you don't have to waste your strength. Su Xiaonian widened his eyes, staring intently at Su Bai. Strange. It's so weird. How do you feel like the guy in front of you doesn't seem to be as powerful as usual? His Highness, this is really a master. Very tall old Huang is gesturing on the side. Su Xiaonian was stunned for a moment. What about the experts in the prince's mansion? Lao Huang thought for a moment and waved his hand. I don't know. Su Xiaonian suddenly became conflicted. If this is really a top expert, wouldn't it be impossible to retract one's previous bet? No way. Women cannot give. This is the bottom line of this prince. At most, this Su Bai is under 20 years old. Even if he is a master, how high can he go? Thinking of this, Su Xiaonian suddenly gained confidence. There are quite a few top-notch experts in the Tingqiao Pavilion. If we all take action together, we cannot suppress a young man without faith. However, we need to say hello to Su Jizi and ask for help. Think of this. Su Xiaonian gestured to Lao Huang. Old Huang, hurry back to the Wang mansion and find Su Jizi. Tell him that his son has someone blocking the purple gold tower. Old Huang hesitated for a moment and glanced at Su Bai. Then he immediately got up and walked out. Su Bai remained unmoved. I saw it, but it's all the same to him. Speaking. Brother Su. Do you think who will be on the list in this inventory? As far as I know, there are too many tragic people in the world. Su Xiaonian deliberately found a topic to distract Su Bai's attention, so he secretly searched for reinforcements and prepared to fight back. Su Bai glanced at Su Xiaonian. Su Xiaonian's mental movements were clearly visible to him. However, he doesn't care. Are you a sorrowful person? Su Bai murmured a sentence. This question. It's really a bit difficult for him. If we talk about the top 10 experts in the world, the top 10 beauties in the world, the top 10 martial arts and divine weapons in the world, and so on, then he can accurately say it. But this sorrowful person, he really can't think of a few. It's not unexpected. But rather, I have seen too many sorrows in my mind, each one extremely sad, and I don't know how to rank for a moment. But he can still guess a few. Well, you. Dad should be counted as one. Su Bai glanced at Su Xiaonian. Su Xiaonian's father. Today's king of Liang, general of the Great Pillar Kingdom of the Dali Dynasty. Su Xiaonian was stunned for a moment. Just wanted to mock. Is it my dad's joke who likes to sew cloth shoes? But the next moment. Golden list changes. Su Xiaonian is dumbfounded. Inventory of tragedies. 30th place. Dali Dynasty. Prince Liang of Dezhou Kingdom. Su Xiao. 5. Human slaughter scenery. No. He lived a desolate life. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. 5. Human slaughter scenery. No. He lived a desolate life. In the sky. The golden light ripples. Scenes emerge like mirages. Decades ago. Spring and autumn war, the people are struggling. As an ordinary citizen, Su Xiao had to join the army in order to make a living. At that time, Su Xiao was not yet the present day Dezhou Kingdom. And just a child who is only 10 years old. A 10-year-old child. Still ignorant of age. But they lived a life of licking blood from the edge of the knife. The Tang Dynasty. The Empress's eyes narrowed slightly. Of course, she also knew about the Great Pillar Kingdom of the Dali Dynasty. But for Su Xiao's past, many people know nothing about it. It seems. Some things were completely eliminated by Su Xiao's dark side, and Su Xiao seemed to not want anyone to know about his past. Interesting. This inventory is interesting. The Empress gradually showed a look of anticipation. This kind of thing really feels extremely novel and really curious. Years of bloody battles. Su Xiao learned martial arts, and within a few years, he polished himself into a second-level warrior on the battlefield. But only as a soldier. Or become a little general. This is not Su Xiao's wish. What he wants to be is a person who will one day bring blessings to future generations, so he spent his savings and recruited 800 soldiers, stumbling and participating in the spring and autumn war of Nuada. Dare enough, with this courage, there are only two possible outcomes. The Great Han Dynasty. Young General Hua Zubing's gaze flickers. Either die in battle, or be appointed as a marquis or minister. And Su Xiao, obviously the latter. But this journey is destined to be not easy. Hua Zubing is just a young general. But his gaze was extremely sharp. He was well aware that in the military, an unknown soldier would not have enough good luck to be appreciated by the people above. If you want to climb up step by step from below, you will have to endure greater hardships than the heavens. At this point, Hua Zubing felt luckier than Su Xiao. In the picture, Su Xiao participated in the spring and autumn war. However, without any foundation, in order to quickly accumulate military achievements and then be promoted, he always led the way in every battle, desperately charging ahead. Attempting to exchange one's life for achievements. But for some things, just using one's life is not enough, because with fewer enemies, there are more. Su Xiao suffered a great defeat in the first battle. There were not many soldiers under his command, and most of them were killed or injured, almost all of whom were slaughtered. For this reason, Xu Xiao held a box of silver and braved the heavy rain to seek help from the Ministry of War. The purpose is only to request the Ministry of War to give him 1,000 men and horses. And promise to bring 10 boxes of gold to the Minister of War next time. However, no one paid attention. No one cares about him, a reckless young general who only knows how to charge ahead, let alone believe his infatuated dream of 10 boxes of gold. In the heavy rain, the man holding gold must be so pitiful, so humble, so humble. But in the end, Xu Xiao's hard work finally yielded results. However, these 1,000 people and horses are just a small and insignificant item casually given by others. Just looking at Xu Xiao pitifully. Maybe it's just a casual move. Or maybe it's because I despise Xu Xiao for being eye-catching, that's why we allocated these 1,000 troops. But Xu Xiao regarded it as a treasure for 1,000 people. 1,000 people, it's hard to achieve. If there were 1,000 elite soldiers, perhaps they could still make a difference. But what the Lu family has allocated to Xu Xiao is just a regular soldier. With these 1,000 ordinary soldiers, Xu Xiao established a family business of 350,000 soldiers. How much? It's a bit surreal. The Empress Beimeng took a deep breath. She knows that Xu Xiao is very powerful, so she has always admired him. But never thought of it. The arrogant king of Liang, the king standing side by side, and the general of the Great Pillar State, Xu Xiao, still have such a bleak past. From then on, Xu Xiao has also learned to fight harder. No spoils of war in every war, only achievements. He only seeks to fight, the harder the battle, the better. Who wouldn't like subordinates like Xu Xiao? This is not just Feng Zhan fighting hard. But instead, he found the toughest knife to fight with himself, which not only honed Xu Xiao, but also honed the army and catered to the preferences of his superiors. As a result, Xu Xiao's official position grew larger and he had more and more soldiers under his command. During this period, Xu Xiao met the woman who changed his life. That is the future queen of Liang. Xu Xiao is a rough man who doesn't know how to say any love words. But the words he said were so deeply ingrained in people's hearts. If you want the world, I will give you one. If you want the world, I will give you one. If I only want a son, will you give it to me? Later on, that woman truly became the princess of Liangzhou. Xu Xiao really has the ability to give a world and a martial arts world. Horse treads on spring and autumn, one person swallows the 6 kingdoms alone. But as a result, he created endless killing and was labeled as a human butcher. Until now, he has been cursed for life. However, even Xu Xiao, who oppresses the court, but also unable to escape the fate of sorrow. That day, the pregnant queen was invited into the palace. Because Xu Xiao's military achievements were too high and he was a highly respected lord, Prince Dali chose to be unfavorable to Xu Xiao after he rebelled against the capital. Xu Xiao broke into the palace alone to save the queen. The queen protects her child and Xu Xiao, forced to step into the land fairy realm, killed the palace red. Finally, they barely escaped. Since the age of 10, Xu Xiao has been fighting tirelessly for Dali, from 800 soldiers to 350,000 soldiers. Among them, many were lonely, some were defeated, some fled hastily, some survived in death, and even suffered a limp. Only then did he lay the foundation for the Dali dynasty. Xu Xiao could have easily reversed Dali, but he didn't do so, which is enough to demonstrate his loyalty. But Dali still wants to cut off the Xu family Liangzhou prince's mansion. Xu Xiao held the cloth shoes in his hand and stared at the scene in the sky, gradually becoming confused. In the hollow eyes, it seems like a return to the past. Not only that, not just that. What saddens him the most is far more than these PS. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me some flowers, tips, feedback, and comments. Thank you. If there is one, it will explode tomorrow at 10 o'clock. 6. Su Xiao's life. Su Xiaonian is not a playboy. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 6. Su Xiao's life. Su Xiaonian is not a playboy. Above the list. There is the palace more than 10 years ago. Everyone can see one of them in a blood-stained white robe. I couldn't get in at that time, someone stopped me, and some even wanted to surround and kill me on the spot. I can only listen to the shouting and killing inside. I can't do anything. I can slaughter a whole 70 military towns and cities, but I cannot slaughter that one capital city. Su Xiao's mind was extremely restless. What is displayed on the list is exactly what he experienced in the first half of his life. In the list screen, Su Xiao was granted the title of Prince of Liang, sitting in the entire Liangzhou. However, everyone can see it. This is the delaying strategy of the Dali Palace. I couldn't kill Princess Liang in the capital, I couldn't kill his unborn child, and I couldn't easily kill Su Xiao. The capital can only find a way to dodge the sharpness of 300,000 iron cavalry. Because at that time, the unification of the northern barbarians posed a threat to the central plains of Dali. Liang needed someone to block the path of the northern barbarians heading south. Su Xiao and his 300,000 iron cavalry undoubtedly became the best choice. For some reason, Su Xiao was forced to accept this choice, becoming the current king of Liang. Liangzhou became the northwest gateway of the Dali dynasty, and Su Xiao became the gatekeeper. If Su Xiao goes south, he will be attacked by the northern barbarians behind his back. Enemies on both sides. More importantly, through repeated trials, Emperor Dali knew that Su Xiao would not rebel. That's why there is such a bold Beijing white dress. Only then did he have the current power to suppress the court, the Prince of Liang. Just because the emperor confirmed that Su Xiao would not rebel. This is an extremely clever calculation. Su Xiao and his 350,000 strong army almost fell to the north and died in Liangzhou. But Su Xiao will not rebel. It does not represent Su Xiao's son, and Su Xiao's descendants will not rebel. Su Xiao is also aware of this. Therefore, after the death of the queen, under the guidance of his advisor, Su Xiao began his step-by-step calculations. The eldest daughter married into the central plains. My second daughter was sent to the college in the capital. The eldest son Su Xiaonian was targeted by Empress Dali and wanted to become a member of the royal family, giving up the opportunity for the hereditary succession of Prince Liang. In the end, Su Xiao was forced to drive Su Xiaonian out of his family and travel the martial arts world for a full 3 years. There is also a naive little son. Su Xiao also had to make him apprentice at Longhu Mountain. In the picture. At that moment, Su Xiao sat alone in the palace, weaving the cloth shoes that had been woven for the queen. There was a dead silence around. It's as if only Su Xiao, a lonely old man, is left in this family. How about holding 300,000 iron cavalry, but he is not the only one left in the vast northern Liang prince's mansion. Su Xiaonian was stunned. He never expected that what Su Bai said would come true. His father actually made it to the inventory, and he was the last one. Su Xiaonian's 2 close friends who were both playboys were also watching the inventory, and their hearts were greatly shocked. They never knew that Su Xiao, as a member of the Dazhu kingdom, was not only under the pressure of the northern barbarians, but also under the pressure of the Dali dynasty. Liangzhou may seem like one of the territories of the Dali dynasty, but in reality, it is a thorn in the side of the Dali and Beimang dynasties. Actually, you should have known all this long ago, right? Su Bai looked at Su Xiaonian with a smile on her face. Your so-called playboy is just pretending. Su Xiaonian didn't speak. But the 2 close friends next to them were once again greatly shocked, and infinite doubts arose in their hearts. What? Su Xiaonian is not a playboy. What this guy has done before, isn't he considered a playboy? How could he possibly be pretending? He has been pretending for over a decade, but This guy named Su Bai doesn't seem to have said anything wrong. He was right about the appearance of the golden list, and he was also right about Su Zhao's inclusion on the list. So Su Xiaonian. Two close friends exchanged a glance. They grew up doing bad things with Su Xiaonian from a young age. Su Xiaonian likes to wipe the oil off little girls and sisters, one close friend likes to wipe the oil off those good-looking little boys, and the other is even more mischievous. The three ultimate playboys of iron and iron. As one grows up, it becomes even more excessive. But now, the two close friends suddenly silently took 2 steps back, far away from Su Xiaonian. Su Xiaonian still didn't speak, just looked up at the list and stared blankly for a while. During the white case, he clenched his palm into a fist. As Su Xiao sat alone in the palace and stared at the loquat tree planted by the queen herself, there was an unnamed emotion flowing in Su Xiaonian's eyes. Ranked 30th on the golden list. Su Xiao, Prince Liang of the Great Pillar Kingdom of the Dali Dynasty. Half a life of suffering and half a life of desolation, not the best king of Liang throughout history, but the best father, bearing down on the queen and not on the children, posthumous title. Wu Li, the northern Mang empress frowned slightly. Li, contribute to the country, slaughter innocent people, this is the lowest posthumous title, we have already stopped targeting Liangzhou, the Li actually did such a thing of hiding all the birds and killing all the rabbits and dogs, and in the end, he even gave the lowest posthumous title, this is really a bit excessive, the northern Mang empress's eyes showed a hint of anger. She greatly admires the Prince of Liang in Dali, and now that she has seen the list, she understands that Su Xiao has been lonely all his life, and expresses deep sympathy and regret. Such a great separation, if not extinguished, the world will be uneasy. This dog emperor, surprisingly, gave him a posthumous title of Wu Li. Su Xiao has been guarding the gates of Dali for so many years, and there are countless soldiers and civilians in Liangzhou who died at the border between Liang and Mang. However, even so, Bei Mang has never stepped into our Dali border, if it weren't for Su Xiao, if it weren't for Liangzhou, where would I have been able to live and work so peacefully in the Central Plains? This Dali emperor really has dog eyes, wolf hearts, pig lungs, a lowly posthumous title, Wu Li, was given to the lord of Liangzhou. Even the most timid wall grass could mock Su Xiao. This move is too damaging to Yin virtue. After the death of Emperor Dali, he will definitely not live peacefully. In the tavern, countless Jianhu rangers were filled with righteous indignation. After reading the list, everyone's perception of Su Xiao immediately changed. Before this, Su Xiao had always been the biggest villain in the hearts of the people of the world. He ruled Liangzhou with a force of 300,000, could go south to claim the throne, threaten the stability of the Central Plains, could go north to slaughter the barbarians, and then call himself an emperor. And because Su Xiao had once set foot in the martial arts world, countless people felt that Su Xiao was extremely domineering and unreasonable. I only understand now. Su Xiao's domineering behavior is just for the sake of ensuring stability for his children. Su Xiao is not the magnificent Liang King Dazhu kingdom in everyone's eyes, but just an elderly person sitting in front of a loquat tree, living a lonely life. The Great Han Dynasty. Emperor Wu looked at the list with a slight movement in his heart. Someone, go to Dali Liangzhou and meet the Prince of Liang in my name, allow him millions of gold and silver, and grant him the position of General Zhenghua. Unfortunately, I, the Great Han, have never bordered Dali. Otherwise, if Su Xiao is willing, I can send troops to suppress Dali. Such a talented person cannot be missed at this very moment. The golden light ripples on the sky, and a mutation is born. 29th on the golden list. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me some flowers, tips, feedback, and comments. Thank you. If there is one, it will explode tomorrow at 10 o'clock. 7. Su Zhao's troops. Li Chenzhou is on the list. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 7. Su Zhao's troops. Li Chenzhou is on the list. 29th on the golden list Li Chenzhou, the powerful gang of the Song Dynasty. The golden light ripples. The 29th place emerged prominently. However, most people in the world are still immersed in Su Zhao's deeds. Dali Imperial City. In the palace, Emperor Zhao Go summoned the strategist and several masterminds involved in the white clothes case in the capital at that time. Liangzhou, we need to get rid of it quickly. Su Zhao's son must die before Su Xiao, otherwise once Su Zhao's son takes over Liangzhou, nothing may happen in the future. Zhao Go's expression was solemn. Now that the golden list has been exposed, the Beijing white clothes case has become well known worldwide, including all members of the Su family in Liangzhou. Su Xiao won't live long. This was calculated countless times by the Imperial Academy, and the outcome of Su Xiao is also shown on the gold list. He is not yet alive, so there's no need to worry about Su Xiao rebelling. What should be worried about is Su Xiaonian, who knows the truth about the white clothes case. He is a mischievous playboy with no trace of intention or strategy. Once he is appointed as the commander of 300,000 Liangzhou iron cavalry, who knows if he will immediately send a 300,000-strong army south. Just like those foolish northern barbarians, Zhao Go believed that the notorious scoundrel and playboy in the capital could definitely do such a thing, especially when he just learned about his mother's great revenge. Hatred in the brain naturally disregards everything. However, several white-clothed killers did not speak. Only the strategist named Yuan Benshi had a solemn expression. Difficult to kill. Su Xiaonian's fate is for a python to swallow a dragon. Killing him may come at a considerable cost. Zhao Go's eyes flickered, full of malice. That must also be killed, even if it's calling the ancestor on the Dragon and Tiger Mountain. Liangzhou Prince's mansion. Chu Lushan, who looked like a ball, was the last to roll in. Several adopted sons of Su Xiao didn't look at him, just stared at those who continued to hold cloth shoes in front of them, with indescribable sadness in their eyes. After the golden list, they all know that their adoptive father won't live long. And after death, he will also receive a posthumous title of Wu Li. The adopted sons felt both grievances and indignation, but more importantly, sadness. Everyone is here. Su Xiao took the last stitch of the cloth shoe and neatly placed it in a black box. Several adopted sons immediately bowed, while Chu Lushan lay on the ground with a face of confusion and fear, loudly calling for his adopted father. Among the several adopted sons, Chu Lushan lacks backbone. Su Xiao didn't care about him. Just looking at the sky, taking a deep breath, as if thinking about something. My adoptive father, I heard from Zhao Go that he has completed the layout, and whether the gold list is exposed or not is the same. At least his plan will not be affected. Also, the one who asked me to tell my adoptive father that after his death, he will protect Su Xiaonian from harm, unless he dies. Su Yanbing spoke up and spoke the words of the strategist on the Chao Pavilion in full. Su Xiao let out a sigh. Then suddenly a military order was thrown out. Since that's the case, then let's move on. Before I die, before Su Xiaonian takes over Liangzhou, you guys have to move the Liangmong border thousands of miles north for me. Since they are almost dead, what are you afraid of? We need to leave more family property for Xiaonian. The adopted sons widened their eyes and immediately bowed respectfully, taking the military order and retreating. At this moment, old Huang hurried in. Others don't know, but Su Xiao knows very well that Lao Huang is Su Xiaonian's friend. Making old Huang Su Xiaonian's friend was a move taken by the strategist at the Tingchao Pavilion. With old Huang's life, Su Xiaonian took the opportunity to enter the martial arts world. Now that Lao Huang suddenly found him directly, it must be something wrong with Su Xiaonian. In the sky, golden light overflows. The 29th place finally emerged. In the picture, it is a baby abandoned at the doorstep of a household. The heavy rain soaked the baby's clothes thoroughly, and the piercing chill made the baby's face turn pale. This is the 29th place, Li Chenzhou. Just born, He was abandoned by his father and only carried a few basic martial arts secrets in his clothes, and then he was left to fend for himself. This dad is also tough enough, perhaps it's because I can't survive anymore. After all, the Great War between the Song Dynasty and the Mongol Yuan Dynasty led to years of turmoil, and many people suffered so much that they couldn't survive. How could they manage their children? That's right, the Song sighed. TSK. Parents who don't eat their own children are already very humane. Listening to the sound coming from the shadows outside the purple gold tower. A puzzled expression appeared on Su Xiaonian's face. The two close friends around me knew something and spoke up. On the side of the Great Song Dynasty, it is said to be somewhat similar to us, both bordering the two empires of the north and south. It's just that we have Su Xiao and Liangzhou here, so the northern Mang never invaded Jiangnan. But on the side of the Song Dynasty, it is said that the barbarians have bypassed the capital several times and directly plundered Jiangnan in the hinterland. Su Xiaonian's face suddenly changed. What is the concept of plundering all the way from the north to the prosperous Jiangnan? Are all the things in Song Dynasty raised by dogs? Are they so useless? Yeah, you think it's our Liangzhou. But if it weren't for our Liangzhou blocking it, I guess Dali would be almost there. The two friends said so. But it seems that I have heard of Li Chenzhou. He is a very famous figure in the Song Dynasty's martial arts world, but it is said that he has already died. How did it appear on the gold list? Su Bai looked at the gold list. Li Chenzhou naturally knew what kind of person he was. He was one of the few heroes in the Song Dynasty, but unfortunately, it's reasonable for him to be on the list. Hear Su Bai's words. Su Xiaonian's heart was moved. Perhaps. Brother Su, you know about Li Chenzhou again. Su Bai has no birds. You. Su Xiaonian was suddenly infuriated. I thought to myself that when my father brings a master, I will have to ask this guy to kowtow to me and call me big brother, so that I can repay this breath. But now, Su Xiaonian has decided to establish a good relationship with the guy in front of him, divert Su Bai's attention, lower Su Bai's psychological defense, and then give him a backstab when the master of the royal family arrives. However, has Li Chenzhou really died? Su Xiaonian asked. Su Bai was about to speak. Suddenly, outside the purple gold building, there was a bustle of noise. I saw a messy beggar squeezing through the crowd and suddenly breaking in. Probably mistaking the purple gold tower for a restaurant, the beggar shouted loudly. Boss! Come and drink. The owner of Zijin Tower is about to drive people away. But the next moment, the beggar suddenly took out a pile of large gold ingots from his arms. The boss suddenly became numb. This person. Interesting. Su Bai gave an indifferent glance. Su Xiaonian's eyes suddenly lit up. Isn't this person an ordinary person? A beggar. Naturally wouldn't make Su Bai find it interesting, as Su Xiaonian was very clear. After all, he didn't even let Su Bai praise him, the eldest son of the Su family, but instead rewarded him with 2 slaps of hatred. Now I actually praised a beggar. That must be the beggar who is extraordinary. Su Xiaonian may seem like a playboy on the surface, but in fact, his mind is very lively. Immediately call the owner of Zijin building. That beggar, give him a good seat to sit in. Give him as much wine as he wants, and have a few lively girls serve him. There should be plenty of them, all of them should be considered as the crown prince. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me some flowers, tips, feedback, and comments. Thank you. If there is one, it will explode tomorrow at 10 o'clock. 8. Xiaoxiong. The world is silent. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 8 in the purple gold tower. There was a strange old beggar sitting by the window, drinking and looking at the sky's golden chart. Su Bai glanced at it but didn't look again. Above the golden list. Li Chenzhou has been growing up alone, starting from a baby. Surprisingly, although Li Qinzhou was only one person, he was extremely talented and relied on a few basic martial arts secret books to deduce the profound truth hidden within these secret books. Li Qinzhou, who is not very old, is already capable of single-handedly challenging many experts in the martial arts world of the Song dynasty. And Li Qinzhou's talent is not only that. He also started from those basic martial arts secret books and pushed them all the way to create new ones, creating his own style. Such talent make countless people around the world feel envious. Is this a genius? I'm still struggling in the realm of 3rd to 2nd grade, jumping left and right, and they have already climbed to 1st grade at an age 10 years younger than me. Su Xiaonian was also greatly surprised. You know, Li Qinzhou, who was on the list at this time, was just as old as him, but he was already a top expert and he himself was a complete waste. However, what shocked people was not only Li Qinzhou's exceptional talent and his talent. Because a person grew up in a chaotic world, Li Qinzhou learned how to use people and organize from a young age. The most shocking. It was Li Qinzhou who planned to ambush and kill the greatest hero of the contemporary Song dynasty, the Yan Maniac. The Yan Maniac who controlled the power gang almost died in that ambush. Also from that time on, the Yan madman became the leader of the power gang, planning once and growing overnight. Later on, he even led people to pacify the entire society. Under Li Qinzhou's command, the power gang, which was originally of mixed quality and disorganized organization, soon became the largest gang in the world. Li Qinzhou's own strength is also constantly reaching new heights. There was even one battle. Li Qinzhou faced the siege of the demon cult leader, who claimed to have turned 18 hands, and the leader of the Baidao martial arts alliance alone. The leader of the demon sect and the leader of the martial arts alliance are the strongest experts in the black and white two realms. Either of the two is a comparable existence to the eastern invincible of the Great Ming Demon Road. And Li Qinzhou alone blocked 2 people. In the picture, Li Qinzhou pushed his iron fists horizontally, making it difficult to shake 10,000 mountains. After that war, the Great Song Demon sect lost its leader, and the righteous martial arts alliance leader fell on a master named Guo Jing. However, even with the presence of the martial arts alliance leader, many masters of the Great Song dynasties by Dao still avoided Li Qinzhou's sharpness. Li Qinzhou's fist, becoming the most terrifying weapon in the world of the Song dynasty. Invincible and invincible. No need for expensive skills, just the simplest punch is enough to tear apart all the enemies in front of you. No matter how powerful the expert is. In front of Li Qinzhou's fist, everything was like Yang Su in the wind, being blasted away by the most powerful punch. Along with them, there was life and vitality. For a period of time, no one in the entire Song dynasty dared to oppose Li Qinzhou. Because anyone who opposes him is blasted out. Fist is power. Grasp power. A powerful punch is power. Men cannot be powerless for a day. I only believe in my fist. Li Qinzhou stood at the top of the mountain, overlooking the vast expanse of sentient beings below. Countless experts who watched the golden list in the world suddenly felt a chill in their hearts, as if Li Qinzhou was also overlooking everyone while overlooking the world. This is Xiaoxiong, the Great Han Dynasty. Emperor Wu was full of admiration. If there is a great chaos in the world, the king has no power and the officials have no authority, just like during the Spring and Autumn War before the Great Qin Dynasty. This Li Qinzhou must have the capital to seize the world. He has courage, wisdom, strength, power, and ambition. How can he be so virtuous that he cannot surpass the world? Emperor Wu's favorite is Xiaoxiong. The promotion of Hua Zubing is due to his love for talent. Unfortunately, Li Qinzhou has died. One person spoke calmly, their voice extremely calm. This is very unusual. You know, in front of Emperor Wu, no one has ever dared to speak like this without a trembling voice. This person, the literary saint of the Great Han Dynasty, is also the only Confucian and Taoist saint in the world today, except for the Xuanzi of the Great Qin Dynasty. Dong Zhongshu. The Tang Dynasty promoted Buddhism, the Ming Dynasty promoted Taoism, and the Han Dynasty promoted Confucianism. Dead. Emperor Wu's expression froze for a moment. Dong Zhongshu nodded. I died over a decade ago, and it is said that I died quite tragically. There was also someone named Yu Fei who died with him. Unfortunately, you had not yet declared yourself emperor at that time, otherwise you would definitely like Yu Fei. Emperor Wu was indifferent. Countless martial arts experts in the world are extremely excited. Because what Li Chenzhou said about the so-called fist being a fist is really deeply ingrained in people's hearts. Fist is power. Strong bowel movements are the ultimate principle. Don't look at the world today, where several imperial dynasties stand tall. The truly strongest, however, is not the emperor who holds the world and sits unparalleled, but rather those masters who come and go without a trace. For example, what happened during the Qin dynasty not long ago. Ximen Chuexue and Ye Gucheng, two masters of the Ming dynasty, entered the imperial palace of the Qin dynasty as if they were in an uninhabited state, and even almost beheaded the Qin emperor. It is said that Ximen Chuexue and Ye Gucheng had originally agreed to have a decisive battle at the Zijing city of the Ming dynasty. The reason for changing the plan is that the Qin dynasty sent troops to detain the Daming Pass from that one thing. When it comes to what Li Chenzhou said, countless people feel that it is absolutely right. How good can an emperor be? It's better to be a strong person, with a fist in hand, even if you have no power. Unfortunately, Li Chenzhou, who ruled the world and dominated it, failed to resist a single word of emotion. The Great Song was incompetent. And constantly ceding territory, paying tribute, and giving gifts in order to end the Mongol Yuan dynasty. Li Chenzhou, who had originally teamed up with Yu Fei and another expert to resist Meng Yuan, saw through the cowardice and incompetence of the Emperor Song. If everyone is united, even if Li Chenzhou died in battle for his family and country, what's wrong? Li Chenzhou sought war with countless soldiers and civilians, but the emperor demanded peace and even sent land and benefits to seek peace, make people want to fight but cannot. Li Chenzhou decided to replace it with the Great Song Dynasty. When Li Chenzhou decided to take down the Song Dynasty court, his brothers who had once joined hands to resist the Yuan dynasty became enemies. Later on, Yu Fei was framed. He is about to be beheaded. Li Chenzhou did not go to save him because Yu Fei was the biggest obstacle in preventing him from replacing Meng Yuan. Many experts in the world feel regretful in their hearts. But I don't think there's anything wrong with Li Chenzhou's behavior. After all, from Li Chenzhou's perspective, only by replacing the incompetent Song dynasty can one maintain their homeland. Li Chenzhou is not bad. If the emperor had the ability, Li Chenzhou would definitely not rebel. Yu Fei is truly like the four words behind him, loyal to the country, truly unparalleled in loyalty and righteousness. But everyone was a bit puzzled. If Yu Fei is gone and Li Chenzhou has no obstacles, wouldn't it be easy to replace Song dynasty? But why? The current Great Song Dynasty is still the Great Song Dynasty. We should cede territory and be cowardly. And Li Chenzhou. But even the name disappeared. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me some flowers, tips, feedback, and comments. Thank you. If there is one, it will explode tomorrow at 10 o'clock. 9. The Great Song Dynasty is the best in the world. With one punch, reverse thrust invincible in all directions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 9. The Great Song Dynasty is the best in the world. With one punch, reverse thrust invincible in all directions. Power Gang. Li Chenzhou carried power to help countless disciples and mourned for Yu Fei in silence. Li Chenzhou naturally owes him for not being able to save his brother. But all of this is for the sake of one's own country. No brothers without benevolence and righteousness. It's the weakness of the Great Song Dynasty. After you die, I will definitely keep the promise, to destroy Song and Yuan in March. The people of the world will no longer suffer alone. Li Chenzhou took a deep breath. He admires Yu Fei. Since ancient times, there has been no match for loyalty and righteousness. After Guan Yu, only Yu Fei was left. But Li Chenzhou firmly believed that in the Great Song Dynasty, loyalty and righteousness to a corrupt ruler were of no use. After toasting Yu Fei, Li Chenzhou summoned numerous disciples of the power gang and issued orders one by one, some targeting the Song Dynasty and some targeting the Mongol Yuan attacks. A series of orders came down. Even Su Xiao's eyes trembled. Of course, Su Xiao knew about the Great Song Dynasty and also knew about its weakness. But after all, the Great Song Dynasty was the wealthiest empire of the past and present. A 100-legged insect died without stiffening, while the Mongol and Yuan dynasties were even stronger in terms of military strength, wielding their whip and cutting off the flow of cunning and martial arts, and shaking the world. It is quite difficult to eliminate the Great Song and the Mongol Yuan within June. But Su Xiao had looked at the map of the Great Song Dynasty and thought about it himself, thinking that it was not impossible to achieve it, but he needed an elite army of 300,000 iron cavalry from Liangzhou. But Li Chenzhou, where did the army come from? But as Li Chenzhou's orders surfaced, even Su Xiao began to take notice. If given Li Chenzhou a chance, perhaps we can really eliminate Song and Mongolia within 3 months. A very clever yet domineering method, truly a renowned hero. Su Xiao praised. Suddenly, Su Xiao saw the inventory, gave a series of orders, and then leaned on Li Chenzhou, who was contemplating with his side head, with white hair sprouting from his head. At that time, Li Chenzhou was actually not yet at the age of white hair. At this moment, the trace of fatigue on Li Chenzhou's face, combined with the white hair on his head, undoubtedly proves how much effort Li Chenzhou has put into national affairs. Also under a lot of pressure. The destruction of Song and Meng, and the return of peace to the world, undoubtedly consumed Li Chenzhou's tremendous mental strength. Although he dominates the world, he is still just a human. I am prepared for all obstacles and everything. When the power helps, the world can be unified. I'll make you the queen then. In an empty room, Li Chenzhou murmured alone. If it were in normal times, there would definitely be a woman by Li Chenzhou's side at this time, giving him the greatest gentle comfort. Only because of this woman can Li Chenzhou have a different side. Dominate the world. Only gave all tenderness to that woman. But today, after Li Chenzhou finished speaking, the room remained empty and silent. Li Chenzhou felt something was wrong and looked up in surprise. Suddenly, someone came in to report. The content of the report made Li Chenzhou's face change dramatically in an instant. Li Chenzhou's wife has gone to rob and rescue Yu Fei's Dharma site. It turns out that it was probably Li Chenzhou's wife who saved Yu Fei, so Li Chenzhou's biggest obstacle did not die, and the anti-Song campaign failed. 2 close friends behind Su Xiaonian spoke up. Unfortunately, it ruined his big deal. But just when the 2 of them were regretful, Su Xiaonian, who was mesmerized by the gold list, suddenly patted the table. Stupid. This Yu Fei can't be saved. At least one person can't save it. The 2 close friends behind me immediately looked puzzled. Why can't we save it? Such a loyal and righteous person, even a playboy like me would feel regretful. How could he not be saved? Su Xiaonian's face was full of anxiety, and he immediately spoke up when facing 2 close friends. You guys know what the hell? Yu Fei's fame is so great that even Meng Yuan was afraid of him and avoided him 3 times. Such a person has been sent to the execution ground with such great fanfare, ready for execution. How could there be no movement on Meng Yuan's side? 2 close friends still don't understand. Xiaonian took a deep breath and moved out another prominent official, Gu Jiantang, who was on par with his father Su Xiao. Liangzhou guards the northwest gateway, while Gu Jiantang guards the three Liao. Can be considered a nail in the eye of Bai Mang. If Gu Jiantang is ordered to be executed and killed by Emperor Dali, then Bai Mang will definitely send someone over to watch Gu Jiantang die with his own eyes. And those people must be top-notch experts. Make sure Gu Jiantang is really dead. The two close friends suddenly understood. Gu Jiantang may not let Bai Mang make such a big fuss, but if it were your father, Bai Mang would definitely make some moves. And Yu Fei is the very existence that can be on par with your father. Xiaonian immediately gave him a white eye. So that means there will be ambushes in the Dharma field. Not necessarily, but it's possible. Xiaonian pondered deeply. If it's me going to save it, either I'm strong enough, or I'll send out enough experts just in case. Bai looked at Xiaonian and gave him an appreciative look. Not bad. You guessed it right. There are indeed Mongolian Yuan masters in the Dharma field. Xiaonian was immediately delighted. Then in an instant, his expression changed again. Bai praised him. What did he like? Shouldn't you be angry? Can anyone praise him now? Ah. What do you like? Next scene. As Bai said. Countless people all over the world have seen that Li Qinzhou's woman rushed to the execution ground, intending to save Yu Fei. She refused to be so loyal to the country and died of injustice without closing her eyes. This is actually not wrong. Who wouldn't want to save Yu Fei? Countless people in the Great Song Dynasty, countless lonely and virtuous people who were spared from being cleansed by Meng Yuan due to Yu Fei, even countless martial arts experts in the Great Song Dynasty's demonic and Taoist realms, and even Li Qinzhou. All want to go save them. It's just that Li Qinzhou can't be saved, so Li Qinzhou's wife is not wrong. Unfortunately, on the day of Yu Fei's execution, the three masters of Meng Yuan are actually hidden in the execution ground. Li Qinzhou's wife fought against three enemies, killed two of them, and then exhausted herself. She didn't even have time to commit suicide. The remaining master of Meng Yuan, in order to avenge the two brothers who died in battle, also committed evil deeds against Li Qinzhou's wife because of Li Qinzhou. Countless people in the world are constantly worried. At the same time, inside the purple gold building, the beggar who was pouring alcohol crazily picked up the strong liquor on the table and started drinking wildly, as if he was about to get himself drunk. In the picture, when Li Qinzhou arrived, his wife is no longer human-like. It goes without saying how much torture has been endured. My wife is dead. Li Qinzhou is crazy. All the pressure is released in an instant. It only takes 6 months. This is an extremely brief time. He can annihilate the Song dynasty, the Mongols, and the Yuan dynasty, and then hold all the best things in the world in his hands. But unfortunately, at this moment, he lost everything. No matter how short 6 months are, they are no longer useful. Holding the body of his wife, Li Qinzhou's heart was twisted like a knife. What he has been striving for is power, great cause, and the world, in this moment. It has become meaningless. And all the beauty, all the love, all the hope and attachment he had, disappeared in this moment. There's nothing left. There are countless enemies around us. But Li Qinzhou doesn't care about anything. Because he's crazy. Blood and tears left in his eyes. He has forgotten to breathe, to avoid blocking, to forget the pain in his body, to forget what life and death are. The Grand Song dynasty is the best in the world. A punch that pushes invincible in all directions, destroying everything. Crazy. It's really lonely amidst the interweaving of blood and tears. He held his wife and slowly lowered his head. The whole world. Silence. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me some flowers, tips, feedback, and comments. Thank you. If there is one, it will explode tomorrow at 10 o'clock. 10, once the number one in the world, now it has become a beggar. Li. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 10, once the number one in the world, now it has become a beggar. Li Chenzhou is right beside the crown prince. The world is completely silent. No one to discuss. No one speaks. Silence for all. Just because Li Chenzhou died too hastily. No one was able to react. The Great Han Dynasty. Emperor Wu's gaze was horrified. He had thought about many tragic and lamentable ways of dying, such as the failure of Li Chenzhou's rebellion or being blocked by the master Meng Yuan, but never expected. Li Chenzhou will die here. Northern Ming Dynasty. The empress is also as silent as many in the world. She admires Xiaoxiong the most. So she admired Su Xiao and never forced Liangzhou too tightly. She also admired the emperor of the Great Qin Dynasty who intimidated the world, the mighty Emperor Wu of the Great Han Dynasty who suppressed the Four Directions, the unparalleled empress of the Tang Dynasty, and the legendary founding emperor of the Ming Dynasty. Now, she admires another person. Unfortunately, he died. The empress is regretful. Death for love. Not worthy of ridicule. Su Xiaonian let out a long sigh. Then pick up a glass of wine and pour it onto the ground. Respecting heroes. Su Bai looked at the sudden beggar in the purple gold tower with indifference, and then pouted angrily at Su Xiaonian. If you want to pay homage, go pay homage to that one. Su Xiaonian was stunned for a moment. I didn't react. Li Chenzhou is not dead yet. Su Bai reminds me again. Su Xiaonian is still confused and hasn't died. What is the connection between Jing and that beggar? Right now. The screen suddenly changed. In the picture. Everyone has left. No one touched Li Chenzhou's body. But it happened to be after everyone had left. A person dressed in a black robe suddenly appeared in the picture next screen. Only the body of Li Chenzhou's wife remains, there will be no more Li Chenzhou. Where is Li Chenzhou? Who is that man in black? Why do I always have a strange feeling? Just as I saw the man in black for the first time, my heart suddenly jumped wildly. Daming. Wudong Mountain. In front of an uninhabited mountain stream, the old Taoist on the solitary fishing stone platform suddenly looked up and squinted at the scene of the black-clothed man flashing by. Shaolin Temple. Sutra Pavilion. The old monk who was sweeping the floor stopped his broom. For some reason, the old tree around him suddenly trembled wildly, falling countless dead branches and leaves. The Qin. Yin-Yang family. The Eastern Emperor summoned the star soul with a strange smile on its face and ordered in a cold voice. Find him. Overseas. Forming a continent's wind and cloud dynasty alone. Bu Jingyan's eyes were on fire, traversing thousands of miles and landing within the territory of the Great Song Dynasty, attempting to search for some remnants of more than a decade ago and at the same time. In the heavenly sky scene. Li Chenzhou's figure appeared once again. But at this moment, Li Chenzhou. Hair is scattered. A face full of vicissitudes and beards. Sitting paralyzed in the corner of the street where everyone comes and goes, with countless traffic and people. Losing one's soul is like a beggar. Li Chenzhou is not dead. But everyone couldn't be happy. Although he hasn't died, he's no different from dead. Li Chenzhou is no longer the same as before. At the end of the screen. Li Chenzhou wandered around the world, and no one knew where he had gone. Su Xiaonian was shocked. He turned his head to look at the beggar who was crazily drinking, looking at the last figure of Li Chenzhou in the picture again. Sent out a heartfelt shock. Lying grass. Su Xiaonian's two close friends are equally foolish. There are also many aristocratic playboys outside the purple gold tower, all staring fixedly at the beggar's face. Although more than a decade has passed. The beard and hair on the beggar's face have reached a savage level, but if you're dead looking, you can still see some traces. The traces belong to Li Qinzhou. This beggar. It's Li Qinzhou. After wandering aimlessly for over a decade, he had already left the boundaries of the Song Dynasty and wandered aimlessly to Liangzhou, and he's crazy about drinking now. It's all because the gold medal reminded him of his past memories. Do you still want to bribe him, give him some small favors, and make him appreciate you for coming? Su Bai looked at Su Xiaonian with a smile on her face. He certainly knew what Su Xiaonian had been thinking before. He probably guessed from a little bit of his own details that the beggar might have an extraordinary identity, so he covered the beggar's expenses. Even deliberately, the old mother of the purple golden tower even found 2 lively little girls to help the beggar. But Su Xiaonian never expected that this beggar's identity would be so great. Surprisingly, it's Li Qinzhou. It's not easy to bribe. Su Bai's meaningful opening. Su Xiaonian's face suddenly didn't look very good. We know everything. Su Xiaonian gave Su Bai a defiant glance, and at this moment, suddenly, a surge of momentum swept across. Su Xiaonian stumbled and fell onto a stool. At the same time, Su Xiaonian's 2 close friends, the old lady in the purple golden tower, and countless little girls who were all dressed up and allowed to ride, were all folded together. It's even worse outside the purple gold tower. One by one, they collapsed one by one, unable to resist the sudden momentum and pressure that appeared. Only the strong white fox face stood, but also pulled out 2 top quality knives to block in front of him. Only Su Bai. Before the momentum surged, the liquor in Su Bai's hand boiled as if burning in a fire. But Su Bai let out a gentle breath. The boiling wine instantly calmed down. Boom! A loud noise came. Everyone looked at the beggar. He no longer drank, but instead smashed into the air like a madman. His fist. That's not an ordinary fist. Visible to the naked eye. The air was surprisingly sunken by the impact. If it hits a person, they will definitely turn into flesh and blood on the spot. I almost forgot. He went crazy. Su Xiaonian suddenly remembered that before Li Qinzhou's death, he had gone crazy due to the huge drop and pain. Now that more than a decade has passed, if Li Qinzhou had not forgotten his wife's death, it would have meant that he had been suffering every day for the past decade. And now I see the gold list. The grief of over a decade has been ignited in a moment. Over a decade of madness has erupted today. Who knows what he will do? Murder. Slaughtering the city. Slaughtering the city may not be possible. After all, with so many experts in Liangzhou city, there is always someone who can stop the crazy Li Qinzhou. But the problem is, Su Xiaonian doesn't have any experts around him now. Unfortunately, Su Xiaonian still left Li Qinzhou, who had gone crazy, at the purple gold tower. Coincidentally, at this moment, outside the purple gold tower, there came a bustling noise. Su Xiao, the adopted son of Chu Lu, squeezed in from the top of the mountain with a body weighing several hundred pounds behind him. Dozens of skilled listeners of the Tide Pavilion fell outside the purple gold tower. Who dares to touch my crown prince? Labor and management have chopped you into 8 pieces. 1 piece is thrown into the river to feed the fish, the other piece is thrown into the pit to marinate and savor, and the other piece is chopped and fed to the dog. After finishing in one go, Chu Lushan saw Li Qinzhou in the purple gold building at a glance. Just you dare to. However, the words were not finished. Li Qinzhou seemed to feel a killing intent and turned around to punch through the air. Get lost. A rolling word. Let Su Xiaonian and everyone present feel what bejeweled is. It also makes people think that if Li Qinzhou had not gone crazy back then, how powerful would the bejeweled world be? Outside the purple gold tower, Chu Lushan, who was the first to bear the brunt, flew backwards and smashed into the crowd, causing countless bodies of grief and pain. A massive body weighing several hundred pounds fell down and feces came out. The scariest thing is, all the experts brought by Chu Lushan didn't stop this punch and roar. Fall all over. Master. This is a master. Probably because there is too much fat, and there are several cushions after flying out and falling off. It is also possible that Li Qinzhou did not exert any killing power, but only deterred. So Chu Lushan was not seriously injured. After getting up, he shouted at Su Xiaonian. Your Highness, the Crown Prince, wait for me. I will go to the prince's mansion and find the experts among the experts to come over. After speaking, he quickly glanced at the dozens of top-notch experts from the royal mansion he had brought with him. You protect the Crown Prince here, even if you die, you must stop that beggar. If the Crown Prince loses a hair, labor and capital will bloom your chrysanthemums. Say it. On the top of Chulu Mountain, there were hundreds of pounds of meat running faster than rabbits towards the royal mansion. Su Xiaonian didn't even have the opportunity to speak up. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me some flowers, tips, feedback, and comments. Thank you. If there is one, it will explode tomorrow at 10 o'clock.